Welcome to the monthly review of crypto coins. This is not financial advice in any way, shape, or form. It's just what we're seeing and we're sharing it. So take with a pinch of salt and let's get into this video. Let's start with Bitcoin dominance first of all, see what's going on there. And this is a monthly review only. So we are only reviewing this from a monthly perspective. So if you look at this, so where you can see we had a good green monthly close, and if you look at the patterns here, right, you see when you have these blue stuff on there, you tend to go higher, right? So even if there's going to be a collapse, you go higher, you go higher, right? There you go higher. So I think Bitcoin dominance will probably go higher first, before coming back down. So I'm expecting a higher. I think maybe there's a liquidity cleanup somewhere here that needs to happen. So similar to how you have here, similar to this, very similar to this one here, where you kind of have a cleanup before you have a collapse. So that's most likely, I think, based on the monthly close, you expect that you go high. Even if it pulls down a little bit, then some of this can be taken back. Some of the candle can be taken back. So for the month of May, it's possible that you get, a scenario where you get a red candle, but it doesn't go below this low, and then you go up into June, on Bitcoin dominance. So having closed this positively, you would expect us to go higher, higher into the next 2 months. You would expect a higher close on the monthly chart on Bitcoin dominance. So that's what we see on Bitcoin dominance. And you can see here, if we go into this layout, and let me bring this layout as well here and look at Bitcoin dominance, you can see we have an alignment on the slow MACD, fast MACD, and so this is more likely to go higher into the month of May. So that's our view on Bitcoin dominance on the monthly chart. And let's move on to Bitcoin itself. So Bitcoin also is looking good. We close green on the month on this layout. So we close green, and you can see here we had a green fast MACD, but we don't have a green slow MACD just yet. Um, on a cursory look, you can see that whenever you have these green MACDs, it signals that you are close to a bottom. So on the first one, it signals you're close. Like here, you had a green, and we went down a little bit, and then that was the end of it. And here as well, you can see here you had a green, and actually just a very small move to the downside. If we just, sorry, bring this, let me make this smaller so this bigger. You can see here again, you had a green, and you actually didn't go down by much. You actually didn't even go lower, and that was 20 and 19. If you bring it back to somewhere here, you had a green, and again, you went, so we had our green, MACD on fast, and then we went down slightly, a little bit, and then off we went. So I think based on that history on Bitcoin, you can say that, the low is just around the corner. So, very likely, we go higher, slightly higher would be what we'd expect to see um, a higher close than this month's candle. So we'll go slightly higher. So that 82, 84K scenario, it's very likely. If you put it back on this layout, and put it back onto this layout, and that you can see here that you got we've got a pink candle, which is a candle of interest. And so you can wake up here to about 84K, and then you can then do your pullback, and the pullback will bring us probably back to, I mean, I'll say slightly lower in the 50s. I think, going into the 40s now, I don't see that likely scenario. I think it's unlikely to get into the 40s. I think we probably get into the, 50s, low 50s, 50. Um, maybe you might dip into the 48, 49. It's possible. So, but we are not far off from a bottom based on this layout as well. This layout is also looking promising. Green close, you're more likely to go up higher first. So looking good. And as you can see on most of these monthly closes, when you close green, you tend to go slightly higher first. Even this one here in 2022, here in 2022, you can see here you went higher. Here you went higher, then had a small pullback, and then off you went. So I'd expect a higher close. The month will go higher than 79,498 in May. And I would expect the pullback to come back down to, the low 50s, you know, into the low 50s point, before you get your kind of gradual grind to the upside. So that's Bitcoin. And then let's look at some of the coins that we like. So let's look at Fetch. I want to look at Fetch on a BTC pair and see what, oh, let's get this back here and see what it's telling us. So um, on this layout, this has been flagging. So it's been flagging green, green. It's been going sideways. It's been going sideways. And last month we closed red, but the MACD is still green. So we could get a sweep of this. You could still get a sweep of this low here. This low point here, you could get a sweep here before you go bananas to the upside. So that's Bitcoin dominance against Fetch. And again, if we look at it on a weekly, you can see here, I think I expect a sweep of this point here. I expect some form of sweep here before we will go steady to the upside. So which means that your FET USD pair will also have a sweep of this low. So you would have a sweep of this low. I mean, how low would it go? I probably would say somewhere into the 11, 12s, somewhere here, maybe slightly lower. Any sweep of this place becomes a good buy zone for the long haul. So um, potentially some lower opportunities here. From here, any price below this point of 14, any price below 14, you start buying and DCAing yourself down. That will be what we see on Fetch. And let's quickly look at Rari. So Rari as well. We closed, the monthly close was was green. And again, very good close. There's a divergence on it or a double bottom. I think there will be a sweep as well. I would expect a sweep of this to the at the very least to about 13.6 before you get your big move to the upside. So there will be a sweep anywhere below 13.6. These candles tend to be exceeded to the downside after the rally to the upside. So, you're talking 13.34, somewhere there below that, not too far, maybe 12, maybe 10, somewhere there. You can expect a cleanup of this area and it will be a wick and then they need to be back up again. So that's Rari also looking good for an accumulation buy. Let's look at IMIX. So IMIX on the monthly chart as well. We have closed quite positively as well with a divergence on it. This one is 0.291 and this one is 0.271. So it's looking really positive. I think I still expect a sweep of this area here. So, anything from the 13 or 14, let's call it 14 down. For me, it's a buy. So anything below 14, it will be a buy for me. And from here onwards, I start DCA myself into IMIX. So, and then I would expect that after that, we will be going very high. So this whole month of May potentially could be red. You could be red before you get the bounce to the upside. Um, that's what we see on this one. And the only reason why I think we'll have a proper sweep is because it really didn't close above the close of this candle. So if we had closed above it, that would have been perfect. Or if we closed somewhere here, it would have been very strong. So the close is strong, but there is a sweep that liquidity sweep that I pick up. If we go even to the weekly, you can see here all these green candles, they tend to take them back before, you know. So like this one here, you see it was taking, you swept the lows slightly, then off you went. So you would expect a sweep of this low as well before. So let's move on to Filecoin and look at Filecoin as well. Filecoin on the monthly chart also closed green, which is good. And again, I think I see that we could potentially have a sweep here. We could have a sweep into the point 6.5 somewhere there before you get your move back to the upside. So looking good on Filecoin as well. Let's look at render. Render went on the monthly chart, looking good. It actually did a green close in March, and you can see here that we went higher. So we went higher to 12, 198. So it went higher in April, but we closed red. Okay, because you need to sweep this. So I expect a sweep of these lows here, of these lows here. I expect a sweep before we go to the upside on render. But now that's a great buying opportunity. And then let's move on to Injective, which is also one of our lovely ones. We like Injective. Injective also closed green on the month and it's quite good. Actually, looks really good because there is a divergence between these two candles here. I do I do think that there's a potential for it to sweep. Again, you always have to think liquidity. There's a lot of liquidity sitting somewhere here, and I think they will sweep that. So if you lay your orders somewhere here, 0.25, 26, 24, 23, somewhere in the twos to 2.26, somewhere there. That would be a great place to buy Injective. I think if you get filled, that would be a great place. So also a liquidity sweep to the downside would be what we'd expect. If you look at the weekly chart, you can see that that's exactly what is going to happen. You have a D3, you tend to sweep it, and then you continue going to the upside. So that's Injective. Let's move on to Aave. So Aave as well, on the monthly chart, it closed red actually. So Aave wasn't a good close. I'd expect us to go lower into May. So 85 will be exceeded to the downside. I think, a good place to pick it up would be around 55. So 55, 56, that would be a great place to buy Aave for a long haul. So that's Aave. And then let's move on to Hype. So Hype also closed really positive on the monthly chart, but I think I still see a cleanup. If we bring it quickly to the weekly, you can see that's a rejection candle. You're going into the rejection candle. I think this potentially even might come all the way back down to minimum of about 36 will be what I expect. It can also cascade down really badly. It can cascade down really badly on this because of all these big candles here which haven't been recovered. This here hasn't been recovered. So you're talking 30 and then there's another one here, 27. I wouldn't be surprised to see it here back at 26, 27. And that will be a clean sweep. We've swept all the liquidity sitting around here and then you can have your bull market. So high patience will be required on that to buy it at a good price. And then uh, fat coin on the monthly chart, I think it was also a very positive close. So we've done 2 months in a row of higher closes on fat coin. And for me, I think I'd expect this to go higher than 25 in the month of May, but I also expect a liquidity sweep. So, we can definitely go to about 26, 27, 28. We can do that and then sweep the lows before we go anywhere else. So, if you're looking for spot buying opportunities, then, lay your offers orders around somewhere here between the point 10, point 0.09 and 0.13 somewhere will be a very good place to pick up some fat coin. And then last but not the least, we like the AI coins. So Tau, see this close really, really good in March, good close. And as you can see, we've had some liquidity taken back. I think they will finish taking the liquidity off it. I think they will sweep it. I mean, you could go back into this somehow, but I would expect us to sweep the liquidity first, sweep it, sweep this liquidity, and then continue going to the upside. So anything around the 181 and I would say 120 between this box here will be a great place to start picking up some tau, Btc, on your spot bags. These are our spot trades we're talking about. So that is what we see based on the monthly closes for the cryptos that we like to review. And let me look at one more here, which is Boba. We also like Boba as well. So let's see. So Boba is doing good. It's closed two in a row, green, which is beautiful. I think there's still a cleanup. I still see a liquidity cleanup happening. So, any 0.018, 0.017, 0.015, any wick into this area, you can expect it to start going back up the other way. So that'll be a great place to pick Boba as well as they clean up the liquidity to the downside. So that's all I've got on cryptos. I wish you all the best. That will be my only video for the month. And we'll catch up in June to see where we are. God bless.